What's up guys, welcome to A1 in a Box, and if you haven't heard already, the HomePods did just come out last weekend, and I know there are a ton of reviews out there already, but I just wanted to give you guys my first impressions, my initial thoughts on what I think about these for only having them for about a couple of days. So when I opened up the HomePods, just like everyone else, I was surprised at how small it actually was. But you can't judge a book by its cover, because the sound that came out of this thing, especially for its size, it just blew my mind. The first thing I noticed though is the bass that comes out of this thing is crazy good. This thing definitely has some good sound quality, and compared to Alexa and Google Home, I don't have those personally. I have the Google Home Mini, but that's not really a fair comparison. But compared to the other ones, I've tested them in Best Buy, but I didn't get that initial shock of the bass and the sound quality when I first heard those. This thing definitely is a speaker first rather than a smart speaker. And this thing at 100% is crazy loud. And the amazing thing is that it still picks up my voice across the room. It's crazy. I know a lot of people are hating on the fact that this thing only works with Apple Music, but me personally, I use Apple Music all the time. That's my main music app. And so I haven't had any big issues with trying to use Spotify or SoundCloud because I don't really use those apps in the first place. But for someone that does use Spotify or SoundCloud or anything other than Apple Music, I can see why this thing would be frustrating. Now, you can definitely tell that Apple focused on the speakers and the audio quality, but they kind of left out the smart part of smart speaker. So Siri is functional, but it's not 100%. And the first thing that I was kind of down about was the fact that you can't make phone calls on this thing. And that's just crazy how other smart speakers right now can take phone calls and can make phone calls. And I like gaming on the Xbox or on a computer, and so being able to answer calls would have been a blessing, but the fact that this thing doesn't is just crazy. And it's just a basic feature I feel like Apple left out, and it's a huge feature that should have been implemented from the start. Also, you can read back messages through this thing and you can reply to them, but the fact that you can't make phone calls is crazy because it does have all your contacts stored in there. So I don't know why Apple wouldn't allow you to make phone calls when all your contacts are in the HomePod already. That's my main issue so far I've had with it, just because I want to be able to make phone calls while gaming, and it's just super convenient. And so the fact that you can't do that is kind of a bummer. Other than that, the other downsides that people have been mentioning, like not working with Spotify or other music apps, or no Bluetooth, or not connecting with Android phones, or no 3.5mm headphone jack. To me, that's not a huge problem because iPhone is my main driver and Apple Music is my main source for music, and so I don't really have any problems in that department. And with Siri, yeah, it's not optimal right now, and I feel like Apple kind of held back on it, but I think with future updates, it will be a lot better. But to be honest, I don't really use Siri on my phone or on anything in the first place. So the fact that Siri doesn't function 100% doesn't really bother me because I don't really use it in the first place. And the only times I have been using it in these past couple of days is asking what the weather is like, just because it is nice to ask what the weather is, it telling me, and then I can dress accordingly in the morning. But other than that, I just use it as a speaker basically. So in conclusion, I think this is more of a speaker than a smart speaker right now, just because of Siri and how lacking is behind Google Home and Alexa. And those things are more of a smart speaker rather than a speaker first. So I would say that this is probably for people that don't really have a home speaker system and just want something that works with their iPhone and also has amazing sound quality. But of course, if you don't have an iPhone, then this is not worth the price because you can't even connect it if you don't have an iPhone, so it's pointless. But if you have an iPhone and already have a home sound system and don't want another speaker to add to your collection, then I would probably recommend a Google Home or an Alexa, just because those are more functional, they can make phone calls and can do a lot more things you ask it to. This right now is more of a speaker rather than a smart speaker, and the other ones are more of a smart speaker rather than a speaker first. So those are just my initial thoughts for having it for a couple of days. I'll be sure to update you guys on whether or not I really do love it or if it's not worth the money, because right now I think that they just need more updates. So if you're not in need of a speaker, I would probably hold back on this right now. So hope this video helped. If it did, hit that like button, subscribe. Until next time, peace.
Ask where you coming from. Like you the only one feeling how you feeling.